keep the heavy coats handy for part of your weekend. I'll show you when to expect a warm up and then when rain creeps back into the forecast.
One person is hurt after a massive fire tears through a local apartment complex. A look at the damage from Sky 5. Plus, New York police collect evidence from the crime scene of the United Healthcare CEO murder, the DNA clues it could provide, and why investigators think the suspect has left the city. Right now, here at 7 o'clock, temperatures are dropping as we are in certainly for a chilly night. But it looks like we're in for a bit of a warm-up a little later this weekend. Thank you for joining us on this Friday. I'm Dan Haggerty. Let's check in with meteorologist Mike Mays in the Severe Weather Center. I'm a little more excited about this graphic than this one, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. 60s by Sunday. I'll outline that coming up. But first, we got to get through the deep freeze. 31 at RDU right now. 31 is the wind chill, so the winds have died down. Not talking about a wind chill tonight. 27 Roxborough, 26 at South Hill. Just get ready for a very cold night. It should be the coldest one of the season. 10 o'clock here in the Triangle, we're at 25. By midnight, 24. And tomorrow morning, we expect about 20 out at RDU. But the colder rural locations likely to be in the teens. We got many locations that should see them. 19 at Durham, 18 at Roxborough, 20 at Goldsboro, 22 in Fayetteville. The good news is this isn't going to last long. We will warm up. There's our 20 tomorrow morning. Southwest wind tomorrow and full sunshine should allow us to get at least up to 50, maybe 51. Not nearly as cold Sunday morning, 30. Later in the afternoon with that southwest wind and an abundant amount of sunshine, 64 the high. Monday, it's a different story. Rain returns. I'll outline that coming up in less than 15 minutes.
All right, Mike, this is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center, and new developments in the search for the person who killed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in Manhattan earlier this week. The CNN is reporting, and also the Associated Press is reporting, that New York police found that backpack this evening in Central Park. Late this afternoon, apparently during their second search of Central Park, they found that backpack. They believe that it does belong to the gunman, but they are testing it in a laboratory in Queens just to find out the exact origin of that backpack. Also new this evening, New York police are clarifying the words that were written on the bullets. You may have heard about that earlier this week. They now say that the words delay, deny, depose were written on each of 3 bullets there. Very similar to a phrase delay, deny, defend, which a lot of insurance critics use to describe the way that providers deny paying claims. So a few new developments in this fast-breaking story in New York. We'll follow it through the evening.
Any piece of evidence will help. Thank you, Brian. A man was arrested today for breaking into and entering a Raleigh home while people were inside. 32-year-old Jonathan Dodrill is charged with felony burglary. WRAL's Carly Haynes is live. She's outside of the Wake County Sheriff's Office. Spoke to the victims here who watched, Carly, all of this happen in real time.
Right, Dan, and the suspect, Dodrill, is in the Wake County Detention Center right now. He is in custody, and he's going to be returning to the Wake County Courthouse for his next appearance on December 23rd. He was arrested overnight today after the incident happened in mid-October. This is what's left of the home near Summerdale Drive in northeast Raleigh. Shattered windows, and they're boarded up now after the victims say the suspect had picked up a rock, threw it against the windows, and climbed in while people were home. One victim described the scary moments as they watched him come inside, and we've hidden his face for his safety.
It's so surreal. You think you maybe have imagined this scenario before, what would happen, and it's just hearing my fiance scream was the most terrifying part.
And it was ultimately that victim who found Dodrill weeks later on West Davie Street in downtown Raleigh and stopped him so law enforcement could make that arrest. And we're going to have more information on that and why the victims think that the suspect targeted their home. That's coming up at 10 and 11. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Boy, that had to be a scare. Carly, thank you. So let's get you caught up now. Here are the 5 things you should know on this Friday night. The Johnston County District Attorney's Office claims that the Smithfield police officer's use of force was in fact justified after he punched a man outside of an Amazon facility. You see the video here. It shows Officer C. Capshaw punching Amazon employee Terrence Ellis. The district attorney says Ellis did not comply with the officer's instructions and resisted arrest for over 2 minutes. They also requested the police department do more training for officers to address situations like this in the future. One person is hurt after a fire at an apartment complex in Rocky Mount. Look at the aftermath of that. Sky 5 over the scene this afternoon. It happened at the Bridgewood Apartments, that's along Benview Road. A large part of that roof on one of the buildings, as you could tell, was just destroyed. We are still working to find out what caused this fire. We now know the names of 2 of the 4 people who died in a fiery head-on crash in Wilson County. 53-year-old Greta Pender and 21-year-old Brandy Sherrod were 2 of the people who were in one of those vehicles. This is video from the scene clearly. This is the crash last night on US 301. This is near Mobley Road in Lucama. Authorities have not yet released the names of the other victims. A Johnston County man arrested after being accused of shooting into a home and hitting a 7-year-old girl in the leg on Thanksgiving. 48-year-old Eric McDonald is charged with assault with a deadly weapon, inflicting serious injury and discharging a weapon into occupied property. It happened at the home in 4 Oaks. Luckily, good news, the girl is doing okay tonight. The man charged with murdering a delivery driver was found not guilty today by way of insanity. The court was able to find Stephen Bynum was not sane when he shot Dylan Wall 9 times as he was delivering packages on Southeast Street in 2021 in Raleigh. Bynum will be involuntarily committed to Central Regional Hospital, a state psychiatric hospital in Granville County. We still don't know a motive in this case. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has ordered federal supervision of Google. That means Google will have to submit to the CFPB examinations and file reports upon request. Now, to give you the details here, it doesn't mean that Google has done something wrong, but CFPB is essentially trying to confirm that Google is complying with federal consumer financial law and that it doesn't pose a risk to consumers. The CFPB cites that there are some complaints about the Google Pay peer-to-peer payment app as the reason for this action. So here we are, after 3 years at the helm of the Raleigh Police Department. Chief Estella Patterson is retiring in March. New today, WRAL data trackers looked into how crime rates and major crime solving have changed during her time with the city. WRAL News Plus anchor Grace Holland here to break down those numbers. Grace.
Dan, after 25 years with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police and a little over 3.5 years with Raleigh, Chief Estella Patterson will retire on March 1st. In their announcement, the city touted the fact she's reduced the police department's vacancies from 150 when she started to 60 now, and that all homicides in Raleigh so far this year have been solved. Homicides are also down this year over the same time in 2023. But our WRAL data trackers wanted to take a deeper look at Raleigh's crime stats over time. They found that both crimes against people and property crimes are at their highest in the first 11 months of this year, but not by much. This graph shows that for every 1,000 Raleigh residents, there have been about 15.5 crimes against people, which includes things like assault, rape, or murder. That's up about 5% from last year and 18% higher than the year before she was in charge, 2020. This next graph will show you the property crime rates are also at an all-time high, but again, not by much, up 6% from last year and up 32% from 2020. The city of Raleigh points out Patterson's other successes include the introduction of civilian crash investigators and the creation of the Greenway Unit, where officers patrol the trails that run through the city. Mayor Janet Cowell says the city will search nationwide for Patterson's replacement, Dan.
And we will be paying close attention to that. Thank you, Grace. New this afternoon, the North Carolina Democratic Party is suing the State Board of Elections. Republican officials say more than 60,000 people, their votes, according to them, should have never been counted. This is a new lawsuit from Democrats now trying to stop that argument before elections officials can rule on it. Now, this fight is over a race that is just incredibly tight. It's a Supreme Court seat. There's a recount this week. It showed that Democrat Allison Riggs is ahead by more than 700 votes over the Republican Jefferson Griffin. This is out of millions and millions and like 5 million votes down to 700, if you can believe it. If the GOP requests to throw out tens of thousands of ballots, if that's successful, it could, of course, change the results when it's that close. But we will let you know what happens. A federal court of appeals rejected TikTok's challenge to a law that could ban the app in the U.S. TikTok must sell to an American owner by January 19th, 2025. That's right around the corner, or face an effective ban in this country. Lawmakers say the company gives the Chinese government potential access to personal data of Americans who use that app on their device. TikTok plans to take this appeal all the way to the Supreme Court. Still to come here at 7 o'clock. This week, the town of Carrboro filed a lawsuit against Duke Energy after accusing the company of, quote, fueling the climate crisis. Next, we're going to hear from the town's mayor about what they hope comes from this and why now. Mike?
Dan, the jet stream tells the story of what's going on. We have a dry, cold northwest flow now, but a moist, warm southwest flow is about to move in. How much rain we could see next week? I'll highlight that coming up.
A small town in our area is taking on one of the biggest energy companies in the country. This week, Carrboro sued Duke Energy. They filed a suit claiming that the power provider knew about climate change for decades and lied to the public about it. They aren't asking Duke to adopt new policies. No, they want cash. WRAL's Ashley Rose spoke to Carrboro's mayor, asking what she's hoping to achieve from this lawsuit and why they filed it now.
Joining me now is Carrboro Mayor Barbara Foushee. She is the town's first black mayor, and now Carrboro is the first town in North Carolina to sue a major energy company over climate change. Mayor Foushee, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, no problem. I'm happy to be here. I also am the first black woman mayor.
There you go. Check that one off, too. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Hey, in the complaint, you aim to hold Duke Energy accountable. And I'm curious, what does accountability look like to you?
So accountability to me looks like acknowledging the harm that has been done for decades as a result of the continued usage of fossil fuels. We're not actually asking them to change behavior, which would look something like the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. But at the heart of this lawsuit is the deception piece, similar to the tobacco companies and them being challenged by individuals after years of smoking and potentially having cancer.
Suppose Duke Energy does pay up. They have said in the past that shifting to greener technologies would, in the near term, mean higher energy bills. You know, they pass that cost on to the consumer. So if they're shelling out money to Carrboro, do you worry that the cost then will get passed on to consumers too? And I guess, is it worth that?
I certainly don't want electricity bills to be higher for folks. But what we know also is that the window is closing for climate change. And climate change is impacting everyone. These heat waves, these supercharged storms. And, I just believe that, the end will justify the means because we're talking about saving our communities and saving our planet.
Your answer might be sort of similar here, but I am curious, what about the legal fees? Are the people of Carrboro going to be paying for this process?
No, there are no taxpayer dollars going towards paying the legal fee. The legal fees are being paid by one of the nonprofits that was a resource during this whole process, North Carolina Warren.
Hey, when we think of North Carolina communities hit really hard by climate change, we often think of towns in eastern North Carolina that regularly get hit by hurricanes, and then, of course, the towns in the North Carolina mountains that just got slammed by Helene. What's the costly impact been on Carrboro?
Our community floods regularly. When there are large rainstorms or we're on the fringes of tropical storms, and things of that nature, and even hurricanes in the past. And so we have a stormwater utility enterprise fund that our taxpayers, they pay into that fund, but it just has not been enough money to cover the type of infrastructure that we would need for our community.
Mayor, why file this lawsuit now?
So, I think somebody might have asked me that yesterday. So I would just say, why not now? The opportunity presented itself. And as I said yesterday, when you talk about righting wrongs or facing injustices, someone has to step out and give it voice and take action. And that's what Carrboro is doing in this matter. You know, it's a David Goliath situation, right? I think some people have referred to it, you know, as that. And so what that means is it's going to be a fight, you know, for a period of years. And it seems like everybody has their heels dug in, and they know that already, you know, even before we filed the lawsuit. And so I just think everybody has their heels dug in, and just, you know, we're just going to run and just see what the end will be.
Mayor Foushee, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much, dear.
Duke Energy did send us a statement about this lawsuit. It reads, "We are in the process of reviewing the complaint. Duke Energy is committed to its customers and communities and will continue working with policymakers and regulators to deliver reliable and increasingly clean energy while keeping rates as low as possible."
All right. Thank you to Ashley. Good to have her in the newscast tonight. Clearly she was off, but recorded that a little bit earlier. Meteorologist Mike Mays in the Severe Weather Center with a look at this weekend. Mike, it's going to be chilly tonight. At least we get a little bit of warmth tomorrow.
Yeah, getting up to the 50s tomorrow, 60s on Sunday, so not all bad for the weekend, but it's going to be frigid tonight. Now, here's a look at Franklinton. Last night we were pointing out their Christmas parade. Tonight, they are making their own snow. There's Town Hall right here. They're developing a little sledding hill, so they got their own little snow gun going, and they've already created some snow last night, and they're continuing it this evening and overnight, and they're letting folks know in the community if they want to come out and do a little sledding in the morning, they will have sledding on their little hill right in front of Town Hall as long as weather permits, meaning as long as it stays frozen and doesn't melt, you can do all the sledding you like. We just wanted to point that out. Looks pretty cool. 31 right now at RDU. You could be making your own snow tonight. You could be making it in the backyard of your house. I know there's some folks who have snow guns of their own that they could produce their own snow. We've got a huge Christmas tree in our backyard. Our WRAL tower lit up. We did that on Wednesday. Temperatures out there range from 25 now at South Hill, 23 at Roxborough. You guys are going to be well into the teens by daybreak. 27 at Southern Pines, 34 right now in Fayetteville. We've got a northwest flow aloft bringing that cold air in. That'll lift out over the weekend to be replaced by the southwest flow aloft. There's an upper level low here that's generating rain already across parts of Texas. This shifts eastward, accesses moisture from the Gulf, and throws it at us Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. So let's see what the European model shows. Sunday, we're still in that northwest flow aloft, so the weather will remain dry, but some upper level clouds shift in ahead of the rain for Sunday night. Monday morning, the model shows rain here, going about a 60% chance of rain Monday morning. Later in the afternoon and evening, it's gone. There's another batch that's developing along the Gulf Coast, heading in for Tuesday night and Wednesday. You can see Tuesday not looking all that bad. Partly to mostly cloudy skies, a 30% chance of rain. The second batch comes in Tuesday night and Wednesday, and as of right now, Wednesday looks like the wettest period with that system moving through. There's the cold front off to the west. That's poised to move through during the evening on Wednesday, and then on Thursday we're back to drier, colder weather. Could be a fair amount of rain for the 3-day period, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The American model is showing 1.6, the European model about 0.82. We really need this rain because a lot of the state is back to moderate drought. So tonight, cold, 17 at Roxborough, 19 at Roanoke Rapids and Rocky Mount, 16 at Siler City. There could even be some low teens in the Sandhills tomorrow morning, 20 at Irwin, 20 at Smithfield, 21 in Clinton. Your morning planner, cold start. If you're heading out for a dog walk, bundle up. Doggies may like it, maybe some don't. I know when I had my Rottweiler, he'd love being outside in the cold. 49 at South Hill, 51 in Raleigh, 52 in Fayetteville. And your 7-day forecast, there's your weekend warm-up. That continues into next week, but we add rain to the mix. 63 Monday, 68 Tuesday, 63 on Wednesday. Greatest rain chance, 90% on Wednesday. And Dan, we're back to drier weather and cooler weather Thursday and Friday.
Not bad for December. Thank you, Mike. So this week, hopefully you were with us as we lit all three towers, three of our WRAL campuses. The towers lit up, beautiful, a 66-year tradition at this point. Next, though, we're going to take a little trip back to 2004 and the familiar face who climbed his way to the tippy top.
An odd feeling.
If you haven't driven down Western Boulevard recently, I love this site. So this is the live look here at the tower, all lit up for the holidays. This week, we lit the WRAL Tower. It's a tradition that we have celebrated here at WRAL at the studios for 66 years. And tonight, we went into the WRAL archives. We dug up a story from a tower lighting ceremony back in 2004. That was the year David Crabtree put on some safety equipment, fortunately, and then he climbed that tower himself. So here it is on your Friday. Thanks for being with us. it's your moment of nostalgia.
David had a special hand in getting the tower ready for tonight's lighting.
Indeed. I wanted to see up close and personal what happens when people climb that 300-foot tower to have to change the lights.
You're brave.
Take a look.
That's Murray Adams. He makes sure all 300 feet of this tower is ready every December 1st. And yes, that means every light bulb. This year, I decided to pitch in and see just how challenging the job really is.
What advice do you have for me? I want to change a couple of bulbs.
Take a deep breath. If you don't want to go any higher, climb on back down.
Where are we going? Right there?
Yeah, thanks.
Oh.
Got all your safety goodies ready?
Okay. I mean, just to get to this is... What is that first rung of light? Only 30 feet. We're only at 10%.
That's correct.
But we're not going to go to the top. Dare I take my hands off here in just a second?
Oh, you're fine.
Whoa! Whoa, that is an odd feeling. Let's give this a try. To make this change, put a new one on there. Twist, is it in?
There you go. Yeah, that's in.
There is no question I am happy to be back on the ground. We were only at about 30 feet of elevation on that tower, but even at that level, you begin to have some comprehension of just how much skill it takes for those who climb these towers and work on them for their livelihood. For their expertise, I am very grateful and say thank you.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.